Hi everyone, I'm Danielle with Trinity Readings, and we are going to do the Leo March Tarotscope. So keep in mind these are general readings. Take what resonates, leave what doesn't. If you find that the reading doesn't resonate, you can always check your moon, rising, or Venus placements because sometimes those will resonate more. And I do offer personal readings. You can get all that information in the description box. All right, Leo. We are just going to look into the overall energy for the month of March for you. Anything to be aware of. Any messages your guides want to pass on for you. All right, let's start with getting some messages from your guides, from your higher self. What is the message that's wanting to come through for you? What is it that you need to know for the month of March? If you're feeling like really like drained, really fatigued, you don't have the motivation to get things moving, I feel like for some of you, you feel that you have been burned recently. It might even be like over the last 6 months. And what you need to know is like that is still that like betrayal that you have experienced, or that feeling of being burned. It's like it's still weighing heavy on you. And it might be because you haven't gotten any resolution. But if there's something that you can do to like release it, to find a way to like release the, I know it's easier said than done, but if you hold on to the anger for being betrayed, if you hold on to anger for another person because they hurt you, they betrayed you, if you're holding on to pain because somebody else hurt you, it's understandable. But the longer that you hold on to it, it's basically empowers them and drains you. And so if you can find a way to forgive it, release it, write down your anger, but that might very well be kind of the cause of like your energy drain. Also, it might be helpful to do like a cord cutting meditation. And just for reference, when you do a cord cutting meditation on another person, what it's doing is it's helping you disconnect the energy flow between you and that person, right? So ideally it's meant to help you to where you're not carrying that energy and you're not carrying that weight. Now, if you do a cord cutting meditation on somebody and then the next day you're still thinking of them, you're still dwelling on them, you're still checking up on them, you're activating that cord right back again. So you're not really putting too much focus on somebody is just going to reestablish that energetic cord. And I know that it's not easy to just stop thinking of somebody, but if you can actively try to, just keep shifting your focus as much as you possibly can until you've gotten out of that routine, that will help. I also feel like for some of you that it's, oh, hold on. Let me pull message cards. I don't want to say too much. Let's pull message cards and see what messages you need to hear. Okay, I got it. I have Leo moon, and I also have my Saturn placement in Leo. And one of the things that I have had to learn is is self-discipline. I have a tendency to want to rush into things. I have a tendency to want to get things done very quickly. I have a tendency sometimes to like react pretty quickly to things. But because my Saturn placement is in Leo, I have to be very careful. I have to be very careful with that. And if you think of in tarot, Leo is represented by the Strength card. And the Strength card is literally about becoming a master of your own shadows, becoming a master of your ego, being able to tame your wild side, tame your instant reactions, basically. The more I focused on being more disciplined with myself and being more disciplined, not just on a practical sense, but where I was giving energy to, where I was giving attention to, what I was focusing on, what I was dwelling on. That's what helped me. It helped me manifest better. It helped me flow a lot better. And so for Leos, if you can learn to master self-discipline, and the thing is, you don't want to be excessive with your boundaries, right? You want to be able to be compassionate. You want to be able to, easily express yourself. So you don't want to have a fortress around you, right? But you also don't want to, always be instantly reacting to things or react. Like if something triggers an intense emotion, you want to be careful of instant reaction. And not because it's bad, not because it means you're a bad person, but because you're Leo, you're fire energy, right? And so you don't want to get in the space of like completely burning yourself out and then being completely depleted. And then you get kind of in that push and pull, pleasure pain kind of cycle. And so that's your guidance for the month, especially if you have been burned by another person recently, especially if that person is a masculine energy and your issue with that person was that he did not take action, that he did not take accountability, that he was a wounded masculine. Because if you're attracting a wounded masculine, it means there's something off within your masculine energy too. And it might be that you're just not directing your energy in the right way, right? So sorry. I think a lot of people that have like soulmate connections, that have twin flame connections, a lot of people that I've connected with anyway, they're dealing with a masculine energy that is not taking action, that is very much sitting in his feminine energy. And then when they try to adjust, they end up overly sitting in their masculine energy, and it just creates a lack of balance, right? So what you want to do this month is try to get out of your head as much as you possibly can. Don't dwell on things, don't overthink things. If there's somebody that you are upset with, if there's somebody that hurt you, understandable. Write down all your feelings. Write down everything that made you mad about that person. Burn it, and then just try to shift your focus to things connected to what you want to experience, even if it's simple things. And because you are Leo, you are ruled by fire. So your energy is very important. And so if you're giving energy to things that are draining you, it's not only going to make you tired, it's going to affect your entire sense of being, because you are fire. You're meant to be passionate. You're meant to be excited. You're meant to be joyful. You're meant to shine your light, right? But if you're giving your attention and energy to the wrong things, you know. So let's see if we can get a little bit more clarity on this message and how this is going to show up for the month. You definitely you've initiated a really positive change recently. I kind of feel like for some of you, you were dealing with somebody who just suddenly changed, or suddenly changed their tune, changed the way that they were acting. For some of you, it maybe is that you had a long distance relationship for a long period of time, and it was something that just wasn't working, or you were in a relationship for a long period of time, but it always felt like there was a lot of distance. And I feel like either you're completely putting an end to that this month, or you've recently ended it. And this is definitely going to be a very positive shift for you. I do feel, I know it doesn't sound pleasant, give yourself transition time, which is interesting because in the Cancer reading, it came up about giving yourself 6 weeks after you end a relationship. For you, I feel like it would be helpful to give yourself 6 months. And that's not to say don't date for 6 months. That's not to say don't do anything for the next 6 months. It's not to say you're going to be miserable for the next 6 months. But 6 months from now, when you look back, you'll realize how drastically things changed. And it might not seem like it happened overnight, obviously, right? But the change will be drastic. I just feel like it's important that you kind of don't rush through this process. Because for some of you, I feel like whatever it is that has ended, or whatever it is that you've recently ended, ending this particular relationship is also like changing your own life path. It's changing like what you had planned. And so it's not just an ending of the relationship. It's kind of like for some of you, it feels like that was like your identity. Like there was more, like this relationship, other things in your life were centered around this relationship too. It might be somebody that you worked with, and so you had to, adjust that as well. All right, let's see if we can get more details on this, see if there's anything else to look out for the month of March. I feel like overall you're ready for something new. You're looking for something new. For some of it, it is new love. You are wanting to explore new relationships. But I do feel like you might find that it's not... it's not what it's cracked up to be. You might find that you're not really getting a lot of, like, you're not having a lot of luck in terms of like exploring new relationships or connecting to somebody new. For some of you, it might be that you're looking for a new job. But again, it feels like you're just not having a lot of luck. I do feel like it's almost like you're not looking in the right place. Like you want... your goal is, okay, I want somebody that's focused on commitment, that is looking for a relationship. That's my goal. That's what I want to meet. But then like you're going to like strip clubs to meet men. Like what you want versus where you're going or what you're doing in order to get what you want, I feel like it contradicts. And so it might be helpful to, number one, get more clear on what you're looking for, get more clear on what's important to you. But also, if you're dealing with a lot of immature people in your life that need a lot of your emotional support, that is just going to be a drain on your energy, and that will affect how you're attracting people, how you're approaching people. Also, for some of you, I feel like there might be somebody from your past trying to apologize and make things right, but it's you and this person are not... you're not on the same page. Also, for some of you, like you're giving somebody time, you're giving somebody emotional time, you're giving somebody emotional support, you're giving somebody the benefit of the doubt, you're choosing to see the best in somebody, even though they're not showing you anything. But you're giving somebody time that really does not deserve your time. And you're looking at them like, well, they don't know any better. They're innocent. They've never had a real relationship before. They've been burned in love. I need to be more patient. Bullshit, 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 bullshit. Like you're giving somebody time that doesn't really deserve your time. And I don't even feel like... I feel like it's just because you feel bad about cutting this person off. But you need to cut this person off. I also feel like if somebody is like wanting to make things right with you in a relationship that you've recently ended, if they're not stepping up and taking full accountability, if they're only half-assing it, don't give it the time of day. Don't hold on to a relationship just because you don't want to be alone. Don't hold on to a relationship as a filler until somebody better comes along. Because everybody that you interact with is going to affect your energy. Yeah, I feel like you're needing to fully leave something behind. It's already shown you that it wasn't necessarily fair, that it wasn't necessarily balanced. I think you were hoping for more from this person, but it's like they never let it get past the dating stage, or this relationship has never got to the commitment phase. And I feel like it's not going to go any further. But I think there's part of you that still holds on to hope. But, oh, hold on. Okay, so for some of you, there's a relationship that has not been going anywhere, and I feel like you have walked away from it. I don't feel like it's in the commitment stage. I don't feel like it's ever been in the commitment stage, and I feel like you have hoped that it will become more, it will evolve to more. What you need to know is it's not going to go any further than a friendship, especially if you're waiting for it to become more. It's not going to become something more by waiting for it, holding on to it, entertaining it. And honestly, for a lot of you, I feel like it's like even telling yourself, okay, if I don't give this energy, if I put up boundaries, if I do this, then they'll come back. Like you don't even want to do that, because I feel like it's like an emotional weight that you're carrying that's making it difficult for you to move forward. It's like you want the happily ever after. You want the big deal. You want the big relationship. You want the big commitment. But everything that is around you, everything that you're connecting to is not even in the state. It's not there. It's not capable of giving you what you want. And so why do you feel that a loving the ideal relationship would require you to suffer in waiting until that person matured? I know that that's been the twin flame narrative for you know what I mean, and I know that that's been the narrative for a lot of collective readings, that they're just not ready, that they've been through a lot, they have a lot, and I get it. But if it's waiting in general doesn't benefit your energy, it doesn't, it creates resentment. I feel there's potential for something new, and something new that you can actually work with, something new that you can actually commit to, like a healthy relationship, something tangible. Oh, but this person is not going to compete with, they're not going to sit there and compete. They don't want to be in competition with somebody else. For some of you, that's important. Like you have dealt with somebody in the past that was very wishy-washy, and nothing really progressed and nothing moved forward. And so you're connecting to a new person, and this person is actually serious, but you're so used to dealing with this immature person that you're stepping into this relationship in the same way, and you don't want to do that. This person isn't playing games. If you want something serious, let that be what you lead with. If you want something serious, direct yourself to where you're going to find serious things. Do you know what I mean? You're going to have to really assert yourself to get the new beginning that you're looking for. And you're going to have to assert yourself in a way that other people might say you're being a little bit selfish. Now, I don't mean, because the one thing that we talked about in the beginning was, being a master of self-discipline. I don't mean that you need to like force anything to happen. I don't mean it like that. But when it comes to things that are important to you, assert boundaries, right? I don't want a friendship, so I'm not going to deal with I'm not going to be your friend. I want a relationship, and that's my boundary. And I'm not going to give in a little bit because I'm having a bad day or you're having a bad day, right? You're really going to have to assert those boundaries, even if it's going to create discomfort. Because you're going from like you're moving from looking for your fairy tale to manifesting an actual relationship that you can build off of. Love you guys. Have a good month.